When Season 1 Episode 1 dropped about 2 months ago, I had a good amount of issues with it. While Joker is incredibly fun and the new loot in Episode 1 was dope, it didn't deliver much on any other front, most importantly story and diversifying content. After experiencing that, I was like, okay, maybe Episode 1 is the primer, and Episode 2 would be the finishing coat of paint that drives the story forward and offers an interesting segue into Season 2. Now, I wasn't expecting much in terms of story stuff. I wasn't expecting any story missions or any side content or anything like that. For me, a motion comic, some actual dialogue between Joker and the squad while they're in the open world, and an ending cutscene leading into Season 2 would have been more than satisfactory. Well, I got my motion comic, that's for sure, but what about the other stuff? Any additional dialogue of Joker with the squad or anyone else that isn't in the codex? No. What do you get for defeating Brainiac Superman? You stab the jammer into his head and you are rewarded with a loading screen that takes you back into the Hall of Justice. And that's it. Big, fat, nothing. That's not to say there isn't some story stuff, it's just not front and center. Lois is back in the episode and she reports on the Joker, how he returned, and kind of trying to understand what the multiverse is. It's cool. She even foreshadows potential infused enemies for future seasons, which I thought was neat.
It's clear nothing is sacred to Brainiac, not even the legacies of the heroes he turned on us. Not if he gets what he wants. Will Superman be next? Wonder Woman? Other heroes we've yet to even meet?
Plus, there are these small zones in Metropolis that preview how the map will look like when Season 2 comes around. The environmental and supplemental storytelling is cool and much appreciated, but it baffles me that the core cast of the game isn't being utilized for a greater purpose, especially with how the base game ended. Season 1 sets a very poor precedent for future seasons in terms of what to expect from the story, and it's super disappointing. I just don't understand how they expected to keep a player base invested by releasing such bare-bones content that only appeals to the hardcore dumbasses like me who enjoy grinding for new stuff and watching big number go up. I also don't understand how they expect to make money off of this product, which is the whole point of a live service by the way, if they aren't releasing enticing cosmetics. There were no new skins in the shop for about 5 weeks, even though they said that there would be a rotating store. And what did they choose to release as people make their way back to Episode 2? These. Look, I don't even mind these skins. They're fine to me. I think Shark looks the best out of all of them. But these should not be headlining the new episode, especially after 5 weeks. You have the entire DC universe, one of the most iconic brands in media that's about to be reborn in film at your fingertips, and you aren't capitalizing on it. Why? You know how easy it is to bait comic book fans into spending money? Just dangle some shiny comic or movie suits in front of them and a good chunk of them will bite. I'm just baffled at the decision making here. I truly am. Are they saving the cool stuff for later seasons? Because if they are, I don't think that's a good strategy. Among other things, this update is also the buggiest one to date. The game boots up as if it was a new game, which scared everyone to death thinking that all of their save data was gone. When you load into the new episode, it fuses the episode 1 and 2 maps and missions together, and I couldn't make any progress in the episode 2 rank that I needed to activate the Brainiac mission until I went to the Nexus and manually switched it to episode 2. Even though the game gives you the option to boot right into episode 2. Bruh. Re-rolling weapons can cause loadouts to corrupt and completely crash the game. I, as well as many others, also got this. Bruh. My game has also froze numerous times, something that did not happen much before. I got server booted every 2 or 3 missions and ended up losing my items and progress, including the Brainiac fight, which is super goddamn long. They added another Toyman data mission when it didn't need one, and they make you travel farther between objectives. I already don't like the mission structure of the Mayhem missions. I wish it wasn't just 2 or 3 existing missions bundled up into one map objective. A progressive fight through hordes to get to Brainiac by clearing zones and destroying layers of shields would be a way better approach for these missions, but doing these objectives and then having to traverse all the way back across the map and then go back across again isn't very intuitive in my opinion. There are a good amount of things I do like about the episode though. The new Jokerized Metropolis locations look great. I especially love the Hall of Jokers one where the League statues are all smiling. The Daily Cackle looks incredible, like genuinely stunning. I wish it was more than just an incursion arena, but it's a pretty fun arena with a lot of cool details. The art team just continues to kill it. I like that Lois is back. I missed her in the first episode, honestly. She gives the game's calm yet morbid atmosphere more layers and provides some really cool world building. The Green Lantern enemies are pretty neat. They add a lot of pizzazz to the firefights. I enjoyed the new Watchtower mission a lot more than I thought I would. They're just Hack vs. Brainiac missions at their core, so they definitely don't feel new even though they're labeled as such. But the swap between dimensions gimmick gives it a fun enough wrinkle. The Brainiac Superman fight was fun. Similar to GL's boss fight last episode, it adds some cool mechanics to make the fight more interactive. Although I don't know why he gets so many cutscene breaks, it messes with the pace of the fight, and he does the exact same meteor bomb move after 3 of them. It was still a pretty fun fight though. The new loot is pretty exciting. The two-face guns look great, they feel really good to shoot, and their overall potency and strength are insane, especially with how they synergize with the new Notorious items. I also think that the changes this episode brings are pretty substantial going forward. Being able to break down stuff on the rewards page is huge. I don't spend nearly as much time as I used to in my inventory clearing stuff out. The gear rework and the addition of corrupted items, which are just boss items, are great. Higher tiered items are way more incentivizing for grinding out masteries, and I actually have a reason to fight Brainiac more than once now. I do wish it was a retroactive change, since it only applies to the gear introduced in this episode. I hope that the first 2 episodes gear get the same treatment as well, but as it stands, there's more reason and reward to the grind now, which is great. It's really nice that we can now craft Infamy and Notorious weapons from previous episodes, even though they are locked behind the new highest difficulty. The Battle Pass XP you get from incursions, Metropolis missions, and Cargonauts has been boosted to 200 per, and the boss missions are now 1,000 Battle Pass points. That was sorely needed in my opinion. The biggest change to me though is the mutator changes. In the previous 2 episodes, the mutators were really restrictive and overly punishing. If you weren't using a build that followed the episode's respective meta, you were punished for trying to experiment, and that was not the ideal thing to do considering how much loot and build variety there is in this game. So instead, the mutators are now build boosters, and it's such a welcome change. Even though burn is the meta at the moment, there's so much more freedom allowed in creating builds for certain incursions, and the game now actually incentivizes build diversity based on the mission you pick. I think this is an amazing change. I really like the direction they're going with the gameplay and its core systems, and on top of that, I do have other suggestions for the game. I do want to see it improve more. I still want character-specific abilities to make each one more unique. I will continue to champion that for however long it takes or however long the game lasts. The inventory UI needs a better format to view loot in. A grid layout where I can sort by damage, manufacturer, villain, or mastery tiers would be a godsend. Going through my inventory now where I can only view them in a simple scroller format without the ability to sort is pretty obscuring as it is. Like I said earlier, I think the Mayhem missions need another look at how they're structured. These should be unique missions and not just cramming pre-existing ones to fit a quota to fight the boss. Melting loot together would be really cool where you can mix and match traits and enhancements. Like a Notorious Traversal mod where I can slot a legendary one into it for bonus properties. I would love to be able to swap heads and bodies for skins. I think constraining the customization by limiting cosmetic pieces to their respective sets isn't the way to go, especially if a certain mode gets added next season, wink wink. Basically, just let me put the Riddler hat on the Shark Kent skin, please and thank you. And lastly, please let me replay the premium Metropolis missions. I'm talking about strongholds, artillery cannons, and watchtowers. I don't know why they're just one and done. Give players the option to play through them again if they want. As a whole, Season 1 with both episodes out is super underwhelming in almost every way possible. Episode 2 was a great quality of life update in my opinion, but it doesn't deliver in the areas where it needs to. It doesn't inspire much confidence for the future of the game. It's constantly getting in its own way, missing easy slam dunk opportunities, and it's frustrating to see as someone who really likes the game. But I remain hopeful that the future seasons will have more to offer and will begin to formally evolve and progress the game. I still like playing the game a ton, and they've planted some pretty important seeds on the gameplay and loot side of things. So for now, I wait for Season 2. That's all I have to say. I would love to hear your comments down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.